Space whales? Nope, rather deal with devils. Chapter 74 Fan Fiction by Azazyel. And of course in the worst case. There were still plenty of spirit beasts I could kill and take as a spirit ring, though a voluntary spirit ring would be for the best. Either way, Mami snapped me out of my thoughts as she asked firmly. Well, how would we go about doing that? I exhaled and, using my enhanced memory of Doulou Dalu, I spoke slowly. I got 3 options. I go to the extreme north where several such existences are available, but it will be tight on the timeline, and I will have to leave you all behind as frankly, none of you could survive an hour within the environment. I added on. It is the best place for me, honestly, as it can allow me to gain several spirits that are rightfully afraid of their lifespan ending. But beyond that, there is also the Southern Ocean. Where there is a large number of old, powerful spirit beasts, I could slay, but once again I would have to go alone, as only Mami can fly and not for long. Taking a breath, I shrugged and then said. Leaving me with one last option, frankly. We go to the heavenly Star Do forest. It's a massive forest bigger than Asia itself that isn't so hostile that you will all die, and we can get the first souls we need. Also, it's actually in this country, so it's a lot closer, right? Yotsuba added excitedly, with me nodding in agreement, though I would need to get maps and whatnot to have the full details. Correct. Plus, there is something there I need to see. I spoke as I recalled the Yin-Yang Holy Well was there, hidden behind a constant fog of highly toxic mist. That nominally belonged to the poison title Doulou Dalu, which could give me a score of powerful old herbs I could have us absorb, and I can keep for cuttings to use back in the DXD universe. So, I suggest we get camping supplies, along with maps and such if we are heading for the Star Do forest, I announced with all the girls nodding in agreement. With that, we quickly did so without any real issues beyond the girls taking a bit of time to pick out local outfits so they could fit in better, and just to humor them, I also got myself a fancy Shanxia-style outfit that actually shared some of the colors of the mystic eyes of death perception, which is what drew me to it. With that, we left the capital with myself renting a carriage and a driver with a tamed spirit beast horse take us away to the outskirts of the Heaven Star Do forest. And even with the spirit beast running fast as hell, it still took a full day basically, with the horse slowing its run through the night for us to reach the base outskirts of the Star Do forest, with us only getting there around noon the day after we began our journey. Thanks for the ride, I spoke, handing the driver 10 more spirit gold coins as thanks, with him nodding before looking at my part and thinking about obviously warning us about entering the forest without a chaperone, but he shrugged and he was off with his spirit beast horse pulling the carriage seemingly back down the road we came back towards the capital. We will be teleporting back, don't worry, I spoke, seeing the girls stretching after being in the cart all night long. We began making our way into the forest without too many issues until I held up a hand to make everyone stop as I raised an eyebrow. Girls, do you have any enhanced senses or methods of magical detection? I questioned curiously. Mami and Mash didn't, but Itsuki surprised me as she shrugged and said. Vampires, should we relax and extend our senses, can sense the sound of heartbeats and rushing blood. It's to help us find people hiding in closets, under beds, and whatnot. My lips twitched, but either way, I shrugged and said. Good, now the first of you to find a creature creeping around us gets a mouthful of my blood. I made sure not to look at the predator that had snuck up and was patiently waiting for us to keep moving so it could likewise do the same. And boy was I not a fucking fan of giant spiders that could turn invisible to the naked eye. As the girls shifted and began looking around, I said firmly. Do not move. Only listen with those vampiric senses. Itsuki and Nino being Spitfires gave me half-hearted glares. But both of them were even more addicted to my physical affection and blood than the others, so it was clear that they were trying harder besides Miku, who actually activated her martial soul. A pair of adorable black cat ears popped out of the top of her head as she tried to use her martial soul, granting her enhanced senses to help her find the creature. And after a minute, Miku actually twitched, and then she pointed directly at the horse-sized spider. There. The monster is Dash. But before she could finish, the spirit beast at being so bluntly pointed at zipped forward at high speed. But before it could reach anyone, a dozen spears of ice impaled it from below and hoisted it up into the air, with its invisibility fading away. And that is a spirit ring forming. Now, normally, only I could absorb it, seeing as I killed it. But, this spirit beast doesn't seem to even be 10 years old. I spoke wryly as the spirit ring couldn't even properly form, meaning it wasn't old enough. I shrugged and then tilted my head to the side with a frown crossing my face as I felt something attempting to attach to my soul, and a golden chain swung out from my hand, slashed out, and I cleaved the connection between me and the damned spirit ring that was seemingly trying to attach itself to me. My soul is naturally extremely powerful with death, holy, and other powerful attributes. I need to be careful that spirit beasts don't literally rush to become shitty spirit rings in my soul. I thought with a frown. But thankfully, I could use both of my martial souls that had strong soul attributes in dealing with such issues. I shook my head and spoke calmly. Keep an eye out. There are literally millions of different spirit beast races, and they all have ways of hunting their targets or otherwise keeping themselves alive. With that, Mash took point on the right side while Mami took the left, while Miku, having better senses, took the back position, while I remained in the front as I brought us deeper into the forest. Our trip deeper into the forest, however, wasn't so calm. I had no idea what was drawing spirit beasts to us. Or maybe we just came into a predator-heavy side of the forest. But every 5 minutes, we came across a venomous, toxic, stealthy, or otherwise oversized predator that wanted to eat us. I formed a scythe of citry ice, and a roar escaped the great saber-toothed tiger-lion spirit beast as it lost its front legs, and after a moment, I told Miku. If I find a stronger cat-based spirit beast, you will obviously get its spirit ring. And then I slammed a spear of citry ice into the monster's head to silence it. And from the spirit beast came a yellow spirit ring, meaning it was over 100 years old. But I wasn't at all interested in any spirit ring that wasn't purple at the very least. But once again, this time at least, I destroyed the spirit ring that was actually floating towards me. Alright, let's keep going. We will want to get a good location to put down camp for when night falls. I spoke as I knew the vampire quintuplets were going to be exhausted after running around all day, even if their clothes were enchanted to protect them from the sun's rays. We kept moving for a bit until we came across a large raised hill, and I used my citry ice to quickly cleave open a cave into the hillside, giving us a nice shaded room out of the sun's gaze and out of the forest's thick, almost jungle heat and humidity. Ha! I need a nap. Yotsuba groaned aloud while Miku looked at me expectantly at getting the previously promised reward, making me smile and pat my lap as I sat down on a couple white plastic mats I laid out so we could be off the ground. Miku came over and, with a small flush, snuggled up into my lap with her mouth slipping onto my throat with her pointed teeth piercing my flesh with her suckling my blood. Even as Miku was drinking my blood, I just relaxed, well used to the sensation, and I spoke. We are getting deeper into the forest. So later tonight, when you girls are rested up, we will start looking for purple spirit rings above the age of 1,000 years old for you girls, and in my case, I will be looking for any black spirit rings for spirit beasts over 10,000 years old. Geez. So many of these spirit beasts are literally thousands of years old. Literally older than most human recorded history back on Earth. Mami spoke with a wry expression. Hearing that, I added dryly. And there are a number of spirit beasts, enlightened herbs, and materials that are literally over a fucking million years old. Older than all gods I know of in our universe. Meaning the DXD universe anyway. Great Red and Ophis may have been older, but Zeus, the Shinto. Yeah, they were all barely 10,000 years old, if that, even if you counted their primordial deities like Nyx. A loud, closer bird call rang out from outside the cave entrance. I lined up with ice with holes in it to allow fresh air to ring out inside the cave. With myself just relaxing against the mats before I added. Get a nap in, ladies. The night will be a lot more hectic as that's when the predators come out in force. With only Nino asking. Can we get a bit of your blood before we go? And I gave a simple yes. Before I closed my eyes and forced my body into a restful state, while Miku finished drinking her little reward before she disengaged, and simply snuggled against and used my chest as a pillow.